Hey, Shawna, do you think that wisdom comes with age?
Yes, I would say that the gift of age does come with wisdom, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a prerequisite. Our guest today is a young woman wise beyond her years in relation to body image and intentional living and healthy aging.
Yes, we are interviewing Miss Ashlee Booth, who is 28 years young, and she is a wildfire dispatcher, a client of mine, and she's going to help us just really change maybe the way we think about healthy aging.
Before we dive in, let's give a shout out to listener Kendra Linden. Thanks for listening, and let's dive in.
Welcome to the Girls Talk Healthy Aging podcast, where we dive deep into pressing health and fitness issues facing aging women. I'm Alli Kerr.
And I'm Shawna Kaminski. And together we'll bring candid conversations, expert advice, and personal stories that will inspire and empower you on your own wellness journey.
Today is fun times because we're flipping the script a little bit. We normally are having conversations about maybe midlife and beyond, but today we're going to be talking about what healthy aging looks like from a different perspective before most women even think about healthy aging. Welcome to the show, Ashlee, who's a client of mine, and Macon.
Thank you for having me.
And you are welcome. We love it. And you are 28 years young. And so we want to hear a perspective from someone at a different stage in life. And one of the things that impressed me about you, Ashlee, is when you came to me, most women come to me because they want to lose weight. And Ashlee, you're a rare bird because you came to me not wanting to lose weight, but you wanted to get stronger, maybe gain weight, gain muscle. And that is certainly not the norm. So we want to dive into that a little bit and why, Ashlee, what made you come to me wanting to get stronger and gain weight?
Yeah. So I might be your only client that's ever been excited when the scale started to go up. But the notch on my belt wasn't going out. So I figured I was okay. But no, I've just always been fascinated by strength. I mean, it's a very well-known stereotype that men are stronger than women. And I was never okay with that, but I was always terrified of like a traditional gym. The idea of walking into a traditional gym is that it's just not it. Like I had a Planet Fitness membership, drove to the parking lot, parked, and then left and went to Chick-fil-A because I couldn't even make myself walk through the door. Like that bad. I mailed in my membership cancellation because I couldn't even make myself walk in to cancel it. And one day I was driving down Forsyth Road and I see this pink sign and it says Pink Physique, fitness for women. And I'm like, I might could do that. So I made the phone call and set up a consultation and figured that I can do it. Like, I love the fact that we don't work with traditional weights or like machinery. I like the fact that it's dumbbells and body weight and really focuses on a combination of strength training and cardio and mobility. Like, it really is a full package that most people I don't think get in a traditional gym.
You've been fascinated with strength, but the pressures of aesthetics are very, very strong at any age, but particularly at a younger age. Maybe, I don't know. Has that not touched you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that every young girl, and I mean, boys as well, I don't think that it's solely women, but I think that we are impacted more so, goes through that comparison phase where you look at everybody else and you say, how do I stack up against that person? And you look at somebody that, you like the way that they look, and then you compare yourself because, you ask yourself, do I look like that? Am I ever going to look like that? How do I get to look like that? And I think that everybody goes through that, and I definitely did, until I got to a point that I was like, I have this healthy body that can allow me to do all of these things in my life. I can go hiking, I can go swimming, I can go do all the things that I love, I can work, I can go to school, and now I can lift weights. And like, what's not to love about that? Regardless of how I look compared to the person next to me, like, this is me. This is what I've got, and this is what I've got to work with. So might as well love it and take care of it.
Well, I would say that you are wise for your age and very ahead of your time, because this is the kind of attitude that a lot of people develop over many years of self-loathing. And maybe you just had a few weeks of that, or comparatively speaking, because a lot of the women that we work with have not even, they have not arrived at that level of acceptance and confidence and joy in what their body can do. They miss the entire point. And you've gone straight to the point that why am I fussing about this when I have all these many things that I can rejoice about of what my body can do? How did you get to that?
It's truly so sad that people don't get there soon enough, because people love to say, oh, life is too short, when in reality, it's the longest thing that we ever do, and it's just, I'm excited about life. I like to live, and I like to do things, and I like to grow, and I like to learn. And I don't really know what the turning point was. Actually, I do. It was actually going to the gym that really helped build that acceptance and that love. But
Yeah,
Alli is amazing. I could not have done any of this without her.
Thanks.
well, and I did want to bring that up because it is you that is willing to look for wins, but also like it's the environment that you found yourself in. The fact that you went to Chick-fil-A and mailed in your
I'm
right.
not proud of that.
That is so common, though.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is so good you said that, because other people are feeling the same thing. And then you said, hey, but then I found this place. And not like Alli can't serve everyone, but it's a note that, hey, there is a place, like there might be a place for you. Don't quit. Like keep looking for a community that you'll fit into.
Because there's such a stigma too. I'm 6 feet tall, and I'm fairly thin. And so there's such a stigma about like the look that you have to go to a gym. And I couldn't even make myself walk through, and technically I fit the look. I fit that stereotype, but I still couldn't do it. So
Wow. Amazing.
others shouldn't feel any type of way, because I couldn't do it either.
And it is because people don't realize. We think that, oh, she's got it together. She doesn't think about these things. She doesn't worry about these things. Look at her. She's 6 foot tall, blonde. For those of y'all that are listening and not that can't see on the podcast, that aren't watching on YouTube or something. And it's like we all have those same challenges in our brains, which is a little
you can
refreshing.
never assume what you think somebody else feels or knows or is thinking about, because you truly don't.
We're going to interrupt this interview for just a second because we've got something we want to make sure that you know. If you're struggling with your health, with your fitness, if you don't know where to start, or you know what to do and you're not doing it, we're here for you. And all you need to do to get our help is to reach out to Shawna and I at our email, sapodcast23@gmail.com, and we're happy to help, and we will be in touch. Now back to the show.
I think I just realized how much I'm doing and how much I'm able to do. I'm a full-time supervisor. I'm a full-time student. I get to go hiking when I want to. I have puppies that I get to play with. And then I get to go to the gym and lift heavy things and feel good about it. And I think it was just a culmination of like, wow, I'm handling all of this stuff. And no, it's not easy, but I can do it. And I couldn't do that if I wasn't physically healthy. And it's just a whole lot of gratefulness for the fact that my body keeps up with everything that I'm asking for it to do.
Yeah, and I love this about you, Ashlee, that you recognize your wins in the gym. I can say this because I see you, I witness it. And so many gals don't recognize, A, we don't recognize our wins, and B, even if we do, we don't celebrate them. And so I want to thank you for celebrating. You get excited, and I love that about you when you accomplish something new and you don't just let it pass you by. Like you acknowledge it, you get excited about it, we celebrate. And that is the way it should be. I wish we could all be that, just in the moment of where we are and what's going on, and just like really celebrating ourselves for the things that we do. And I'm hoping that your attitude and your outlook, maybe it is more common these days. I'm hoping with our younger generation, maybe they watched our generations and the generations before us and said, well, I don't want to do it the way they did, because they hated themselves and they were always obsessed with how they looked and they're always worried about their weight. And but you would have to tell me, because I don't know kind of what is what is out there for the 28-year-olds. What are the conversations about our appearance, about our health, about fitness?
I wish I could tell you, but I kind of live under a rock right now because I am a full-time supervisor and a full-time student, and I try to go to the gym twice a week.
And maybe that's why you don't have time to like waste on all that.
Yeah, and I work in a very male-dominated field. So there's not a whole lot of women around me in my office, yes, but for the most part, I deal with a lot of men. And you just don't really see that same level of, like insecurity necessarily, at least outwardly. I'm never going to say what's going on the inside of somebody, but at least outwardly, you don't really see that same level of awareness and like, insecurity about what you look like. And I think maybe that taught me a lot as well, because when I first started, I spent so much time like trying to keep up and trying to prove that I was this person. And I didn't have to. Like, who I am is good enough, and I'm good at my job, and I'm good at what I do. And I think it was just a lot of years of taking on a lot of responsibility very young just taught me at some point, like, it is what it is. You've just got to deal with what life gives you and keep trucking.
Well, I think part of it is that you maybe have, I don't want to say big goals, but you seem like the type of person that, you've got a list that you're checking things off the list. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, that these are more important. And so by focusing on the things that are important to you, it naturally falls away oh, my hair doesn't look great today, it's in a pony. Or, you know what I mean? Like you're focusing on the big rocks and not on the minutia. And maybe by not getting involved with the social media, with everything that's going on, that's maybe protected you. You've insulated yourself because you've surrounded yourself by. I wanted to point out that maybe your attitude at the Pink Physique was a great combination between your attitude of looking for wins, but also the environment that you put yourself in. And Alli wouldn't be like, I need to give a shout out to Alli, and you would do the same, of creating this environment of positivity. And so that maybe because you've surrounded yourself with the right people in the right environments, that you've been insulated or less affected by all the messiness that's going on in social media. Thoughts?
Those women are amazing. I have literally cried in that gym. I have walked in so frustrated and so mad about my day that I just couldn't see straight. And I mean, just everybody gathers around you. I've had people pray for me. I've had hugs. I've had, hey, we're thinking about you. And like literally weeks or months later, some of these ladies will follow up with me and say, hey, how is this particular thing going? Or like, I hadn't seen you in a while. I'm so glad that you're still in our session, or, things like that just make you feel so good. And it would not be the same without the women in the gym. Like, I don't know that I would have had the same result without all the encouragement and the buddies that I've made.
Yeah. So just creating an environment for yourself with the positive people, rather than getting stuck on your phone and the comparison game of, social media. Look what this person's doing or what they look like. You're kind of maybe not in that scene as much.
Try really hard to stay very self-aware. Like, I am very aware of where I started at and like how far that I've come. Because I remember my very first session with Alli, we did nothing but body weight exercises, and I couldn't even walk up the stairs in the house. I had to scoot up on my butt because I was so sore. And now I deadlifted 100 pounds last night. And like, I just try to always keep in mind where I've come from. And that's where a lot of that excitement comes from, because I remember when I started and I couldn't do those things. Or I remember when I just started at 20 pounds, and to see how much I've built. And then the mindset of, watching other people around me in that self-comparison, I've had to do a lot of work with that, a lot of kind of retuning the way that I think. When I look at somebody and you immediately get a judgment based off of what they look like, there's been a lot of self-reflection and a lot of internal work within myself just to say, why? what that person looks like makes no difference on who they are or what value they give to society. And so I also know that I've come a long way in that. And I mean, as soon as you stop looking at others for a comparison, you really find an immediate happiness that was not there before. It's all about
Yeah.
how you frame things. You can live in the world's worst shack and and frame things
Yep.
to where it's not so bad, So it's just really how you let yourself
Mm-hmm.
internalize things or handle things. So I try
Right.
very hard to say, well, there is good out there.
Yeah. Well, if you look for bad, you'll find it. If you look for good, you'll find it.
Absolutely. And the bad is always going to be louder. That's another thing to really keep in mind, I think, is that the negativity is always going to be louder than the positivity because the negative folks have more reason to be loud about it.
Yeah.
You have to really decide to remove yourself from that.
Yeah, and it's kind of a constant maybe checking in with yourself to be checking your attitude and not falling down that rabbit hole of negativity.
Yeah. And really asking yourself why you responded in the way that you did respond. Because, you have knee jerk reactions. You have things that get to you in the moment. And afterward, at work, we do these things called after action reviews. And after a big event, you sit down and you talk about what went well, what didn't go well, what you might want to do differently. And I've really started framing this idea in my own mind of doing an AAR with myself after like a stressful day or an
Yeah.
overreaction or a meltdown, saying, ooh, why did I respond the way that I just responded to that?
That's a very thoughtful practice that could be applied to, life, not just to wildfires.
For sure. Ashlee, what is your like the day to day? Just tell us a little bit about what goes on in Ashlee's world, because people are probably might be listening and like, I mean, we did say a little bit about you are going to school and all, but you do. I mean, Ashlee does have a stressful job. She does have she's like a supervisor, so you can imagine
Yes.
that's not an easy thing. So, what's a day in the life of Ashlee like?
I am a supervisor for a wildland dispatch center, like wildland fire dispatch. We're not California. We don't work quite on the scale of what you see in the news, but we do have wildfires in the state of Georgia. So I run a 15-member crew. It is 15 people to me. So I can work anywhere from 8 hours or I can work 14 hours at a moment's notice. You never quite know what the day is going to bring because you can't really predict wildfires. You can do your best, but you never know what the day is actually going to hand to you.
Today, right? Today,
yeah.
your day changed.
Yeah. So, very hectic on a day-to-day on the work side. And then I am a full-time student as well. So I leave work and I either run to the gym and do a workout session with Alli and then run home and try to grab a shower. And then do class. So I have class 2 or 3 times a week where I have to do like a live chat and then all of the actual homework that goes along with that. So generally working anywhere from like 40 to 60 hours a week and then adding on a good 20 to 30 hours worth of schoolwork on top of that. And then 2 or 3 hours in the gym every week as well.
Wow. Yeah, because I want us to, point that out. Like it's, kudos to you that you are taking time to work on your fitness, your health, and you're busy. It's not like you're just just sitting around, got nothing going on in life. And so I think that's a testament that ladies that we can, take and make time for ourselves. I know that and people might say, well, Ashlee, she doesn't have kids, she doesn't have a family, and you don't right now have that. And I don't know that that's something that you aspire to. So that's, So, I mean, I love that we get to show women doing things their way on Girls Talk Healthy Aging, because we have so many different ladies we've interviewed, and, everybody's just kind of shows us it doesn't have to be some set way. And so talk to us a little bit about like, that the life of Ashlee. You're doing these things with work, you're doing these things with school. What are you aspiring to? Why are you going to school? What's the goal here? What do you see happening for Ashlee?
Yeah, I don't really have an answer for that at this point. I started with my current job when I was 18, planned to be there 2 years maximum. 10 years later, I'm still going strong. So I was going to take a gap year in those 2 years and work part time. And then a supervisor role popped up. I interviewed just to get the interview experience and ended up somehow getting the job. Um, and then I never went back to school, and that never sat right with me. Education is so important to me. I think it's an amazing resource, and something that I know college is not for everybody, but everybody needs to continue to learn in some capacity. And I wasn't getting any younger. So when I was about 27, I believe, 26 or 27, I was like, you know what? If I start right now, I can get my bachelor's degree done before I'm 30. And that was just kind of my goal, is I want this done before I'm 30. So I want an education. I don't know, what that's going to look like for my career path at this point, but I should finish up in December if everything goes well. And then I have some figuring out to do, but unfortunately, I don't have a clear-cut answer for that.
And what is your degree in?
It'll be a business degree. So at this point, I have about 8 years of supervisory management experience. And I would like to stay in that role. And I figured a business degree would complement the professional experience that I've already got.
Well, I like that you don't have an answer, because sometimes not having an answer is the best thing, because the experience that you're getting in your supervisory role for all these years is a stepping stone to the next thing, to the next thing, and it keeps you open to opportunities. So that's pretty exciting. And I like you've already noticed that, look, time is going to pass anyway. What am I waiting for? You're saying I'm not getting
Yeah.
you're in your 20s. Like, again, this is you're very enlightened, because a lot of people don't get these aha moments until much more time has passed. So you're going to do something really big with your life.
I really hope so. That's the goal.
You talk about functional fitness, that this is what you're doing with Alli. And what does that mean to you? Because function in your 20s is much different. And sometimes in your 20s, you can't even imagine what functional is in your 50s, 60s, 70s. What is it? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, so I actually have a little bit of a jump start on that because I do have scoliosis, and that's something that I've known about my whole life, but have recently found out that the very last disc in my spine is kicked to the side a little bit, and I already have a little bit of degeneration there. And then because of the scoliosis, my shoulders aren't quite balanced, and I have a few little shoulder quirks, as I like to call them. So I've always known that I was at a disadvantage already in spine health. And then I started working out a little bit and started getting really sore in like areas around my spine. I was like, what's going on? So started going to, different doctors and chiropractors and things. And basically my spine is moving in a way that it's not used to, but in a way that it needs to. So working out for me is part of keeping my spine healthy so that I'm able to continue to do all of these things, because in my case, resistance training is the best thing that I can do, because all of those muscles are going to continue to try to curve the older I get. So now trying to keep everything strong and healthy exactly where it's at so that the situation doesn't get worse. So a lot of my thinking is I'm already at a disadvantage. I don't want to try to start to address these issues because they've gotten worse. So part of the training and the strength training and all of that is to go ahead and address an issue that is not causing me problems now, but I know very likely will down the road.
Yeah, I really like that intentionality and just an awareness about your own body. Again, very enlightened, because a lot of people might not notice that until they find a problem. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
And Ashlee, what about advice for other gals that may be younger or older that want to shift their mindset from fixing their bodies to building their bodies? What do you think? What should we be doing?
Just go for it. Don't keep saying, "Oh, I'll do it tomorrow," or "I don't have time right now." truly you'll never find time. So you have to make it happen for yourself. And probably find a trainer to work with. I know one of the things that I'm like the most terrified of is doing something wrong and hurting myself. So Allie does a lot of form corrections, I know, but find somebody to help you. It's not going to be an easy road when you first start and you don't know what you're doing and you feel so self-conscious. So don't keep putting it off. Go find somebody that can help you get the journey started and really just enjoy it. Enjoy those little wins. You know, as much as I love to see the weight go up in the gym that I'm able to lift, it's the everyday things when I can pick up a heavy box and I'm like, oh, wow, I couldn't have done that a year ago. Find the wins in your daily life that show you how much you're truly progressing, and then work on changing your mindset as well. You know, if you know that you're always comparing yourself to somebody, you really have to start there to start changing that mindset. And it helps in so many other aspects of your life.
It's funny because we just, in a previous interview with Sharon Rutherford, who's just turning 80, we asked her a similar question, and her answer was just get started. And it was very similar. So, we were encouraging people that were a little bit older and, hoping to inspire younger people as well. And here we have a young person that is saying the same thing. So our older demographic can't use the excuse that, oh, I'm old, it's hard to start. When you're young, it's hard to start. You just have
It
to.
is. There's 1,000 other things going on, that take your time and take your attention, and it's just always something that, oh, it'll be there tomorrow until it's never too late, but until it's a lot harder than it would have been if you had started younger.
Exactly. Yes.
So, Ashlee, what about I know that you and I have talked a little bit about this kind of some after workout conversations, and I love hearing about women that are doing things differently. I don't have kids, and I know that that's something you and I have talked about. And Shawna's a mom, so it's so cool just to see different ladies doing different things. Where are you with just that, being a woman in 2025, and what that looks like for Ashlee right now? Like, just, I know we talked a little bit about, your career stuff, but let's talk about not necessarily career, but just life.
Yeah. And
Yeah. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
pressures that you're feeling in as a woman in your 20s, or I guess now late 20s, there might be a lot of expectations.
A late 20s single woman in a southern society. So you can imagine that there is there's pressure from family, definitely, but at this point I've been running for 3 years now, literally, between work and school, and it's just not something that has been a priority. Children have never been a priority for me. Love it for the people that have gone that route, but for me it's just never been something that I've felt like was going to be a part of my life. So I haven't made it a priority, and I feel very comfortable with that. I don't feel like there is any sort of like set life road that anybody has to travel. Everybody's life is going to be different, and I'm very, very okay with that. So no, it's not on the books right now. Probably not on the books in the future either. But I enjoy doing what I'm doing, and that's just doing the things that I love.
And I think healthy aging can look so different for different people. So I love that you, just in our conversations, that you're a very happy, very healthy person, and just seem very content in your world and very confident in who you are and where you are. And so kudos, and I love that. Thank you for putting that out into the universe.
Yeah, and I think you really do see so much in the older generations of, maybe self-loathing is a very harsh word to use, but you do see so much of the criticism and just really the inability to love yourself, and that's sad. I mean, we only get one life, and you got to enjoy what you're given and what you have. And so I've just decided that this is my chance to be on this earth, and I'm going to enjoy it, dang it.
Well, I think what you're saying is that you've given a lot of thought to what you want to do and where you want to be, and you're living with intention. And while you are keeping the door open in a lot of areas, like you say, I'm getting this degree, I don't know where it will lead. You're keeping the door open to opportunities in the future. You're not married to one single idea, which I think is a very healthy attitude. But you're accepting of where you are now and not wanting because I think a lot of people maybe have the grass is greener idea that, well, I like what I'm doing now, but it would be so much better if I was married when I was doing it. Or if I had a degree and I had this different job, it would be much better. I think maybe.
Or this different body, or this different, fill in the blanks.
Yes, exactly.
Or this different hair, this different clothes.
Yeah, at a lighter weight, not very many people would say a heavier weight, but, always having a less than attitude. And I think the gift that you bring to us and to our listeners is a challenge to maybe just be grateful and appreciative of where you're at right now. And I think that's a really powerful message from a very young person. So thank you.
Yeah, and I just want to throw out there that it's okay if that's not where you're at. This is not an attitude that I came to overnight. This is years of a lot of hard work internally. So if that's somewhere that you're like, it's hard to be grateful, that's okay too. It's finding those little things, and it's saying, you know what, I have a roof over my head and I have clean running water tonight. Like that is my gratefulness for the day. And it's choosing to find those things in life that you can say, okay, I am grateful for this. In the midst of all of the chaos, what is the good that happened today? And really just making that decision to find the good, even when it feels really hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's a good point. You maybe were born with a happier disposition, possibly, but maybe not. You might have just had to work at this day in and day out. And anybody that doesn't have a happy disposition can develop one with a daily practice of gratitude. And it doesn't mean that you have to win the lottery to be grateful. You could be grateful, like you said, that I have a roof over my house, over my head, which is no small thing. But a lot of people just overlook so many of the things that we take for granted. So,
oh, absolutely.
If you had a wish for our listeners today, Ashlee, what would it be?
Just get started. Just find whatever little bit of confidence that you need within yourself and go do it, because I promise that it will be worth it. So my wish for everybody would be to have that little spark of confidence that you need to get started, and to take that and, sorry, I'm in the wildfire industry, build a blazing fire under yourself from that little spark to get started and to run with it, because it will be so worth it in the end. Well, it never truly ends. It'll be so worth it in the long run.
Like that. Alli?
My wish would be that we could take the celebration like Ashlee has for our wins and just live in the now and celebrate all the little things that we can do, because it's amazing.
Yeah. I don't know if I can do better than your wishes, ladies, because I do agree, getting started and then celebrating along the way, so important. And that's what helps with the motivation. People that lose motivation tend to forget to look at the wins. And I think that's been one of your keys to success, along with finding the right community.
Absolutely. Don't look at this pinup model with the perfect body and say, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to get there? It is the little steps, and it is the little victories and the little wins that are going to get you there. And it's not going to happen overnight, but enjoy the journey. Enjoy all those little things, the little, boost in your weight that you can lift and that box that you can suddenly pick up. Enjoy those moments. Don't focus so much on the end that you can't even get yourself there.
Wise words. Thank you, Ashlee.
Thanks for listening. You'll find me, Alli, on Instagram at Alli Kerr Fitness.
And you'll find me, Shawna, on Instagram at Shawna Kaminski. Feel free to pop us a DM with questions and or feedback. If you're enjoying the Girls Talk Healthy Aging podcast, please subscribe and share it with other health-minded women. Ratings and reviews are also much appreciated and help us get our message out to a larger audience.
Until next time, be healthy and be happy.